I got out of the shower Saturday and said, I guess I better wash some underwear.
Well, Mark, I washed underwear too.
Yeah, well, I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. And it takes you got to run yours through a little longer since
No,
you like jalapenos so much. Holy cow.
My dirty underwear is no different than yours.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill, next to the Roadside Event Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat, it's where it's at.
5:23, Mark and Paul on Veterans Day. For many, just another day when the banks are closed.
Oh, yeah. Holiday today.
But for some of us, it's a day that matters.
Yep. Big one. Big day today. Big holiday. Doesn't get the celebration it should.
No, it doesn't. And I've always said that everybody should have to serve 1 year in the military. It would do you some good. It would change some votes.
Keep people out of trouble like the kid downtown here this morning.
Folks, Paul and I have been around a while, and we know what it sounds like when there's a car crash. So we're getting out of our pickups on Montana Avenue this morning. We start walking, and here come, I think it was 6 Billings Police Department cars chasing this one guy. Much like the guy that was in the front, Paul and I did not know that chase was over.
That's right. He didn't know it was over either until, boom, they broadside him.
That's right.
Did a controlled spin. And then that youth decided to get out and run. It's too bad there wasn't a train coming. Usually there's a train coming at that time in the morning.
Most days, yeah.
Mark and I are watching the whole thing in live time right there. And one of the people chasing said, "Get down on the ground, you mother, you-know-whatter." And he didn't. So he was tackled.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other Billings police finest dogpiled on him. And Mark and I looked at each other and said, that gentleman doesn't know how lucky he was that 6 policemen were there, because they wouldn't have had the armed capacity that we had should he had approached us.
You have made an error in judgment.
That's right. He made the right call because there were only 6 of them there with revolvers, and he probably would have been outgunned should he have gone our way. But
wow.
There you go, folks. Billings finest out there, keeping the streets safe. You know, a lot of policemen are ex-military.
Yeah.
They get out of the military, they go into the police force.
Natural transition for him.
Remember, my dad, when we talked to him, we talked to my dad. We used to call him on Veterans Day. And my dad always said he thought every high school boy should go to the service for 1 year.
Yeah.
Just take some basic training, get some basic discipline. It keeps you out of trouble. Rather than this. Well, now that I've got through this grueling high school course, and I was forced to graduate with a 30% proficiency rating in math and reading. I think I'm going to take a year off now to enjoy myself and enjoy the world. Because you know what happens then? You end up down here on Montana Avenue with 6 cop cars behind you, and they're tackling you on the street.
Because you've put yourself behind everybody else by 12 months on purpose.
That's right. That's right.
So, okay, I got one for you. A combination of something we talked about Friday and one of your pet peeves. And Paul and I were talking. Paul went to the Main Street Deli last week and just had an awesome sandwich.
Yeah, I've been hitting it a little on the way home because the road's better this way, and I love it.
And everything's fresh. One of the problems with the big sub places is the bread isn't as fresh, or the way they make it's harder.
Yeah, and they'll give you day old stuff.
Yeah. So that combined with, I had the TV on while I was doing laundry on Saturday. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Subway and get one of those Italian BMTs. That just sounds exactly right. The one up by Circle K, Super America, there was busy. So I went down to the one by Bottles and Shots. Nobody in the parking lot. Walk right in. Kid working, super nice. How can I help you? Making my sandwich. But there was a lady who was finishing up her lunch, and she got done with her sandwich, and as I'm walking out, she takes her cup over to the pop machine to refill it, and then she gets it to the very tip top, and she goes, and then refills it some more. I said, he would have killed Paul if he had been here. I didn't get anything to drink. I'm starting to do that because I learned that from Paul.
That's right. It's a waste of money.
Yeah.
It's way too expensive.
Well, a little bag of barbecue chips, $1.79.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Mark. Yeah. Off Main Deli's a great place, though. Great, fresh, big. I mean, you just you can't beat it.
And for Paul and I, you can get a sandwich at 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
King's Hat doesn't know it, but they lost a customer when they sold.
That's right.
And now they don't open till 11 instead of 10.
No more flying pizza burgers
That's
for
right.
Mark or
That's
whatever
right.
he got out
No,
there.
exactly.
Yeah.
I am going to have to modify my order. I think I'm done ordering jalapenos and sandwiches.
Are you? Thank God. Here. Good. I'm in. I'll buy every sandwich you get without jalapenos on it.
The one I got, because I got one Saturday and Sunday, and the one Sunday, I don't know if I just got more jalapenos or I got jalapenos with more horsepower, but there was a difference.
Oh, yeah?
When your ears sweat, you don't need jalapenos anymore.
Well, the jalapenos, from what I understand, the potency of a jalapeno pepper, a lot of it is determined by the weather and the climate that it's grown in.
I believe that.
And I don't know how it works, but, certain rain at a certain time or a dry period at a certain time will affect the heat level up and down of a pepper, of a jalapeno pepper. So.
The hottest one I ever had, we were in Lewistown for volleyball, and there's a little brew pub right across the street from the Yogo Inn. And I ordered the burger that had peanut butter and jelly and jalapenos on it. And it was delicious, but the sweat was pouring off me. Hottest jalapenos ever.
Well, I went out Saturday night and took John and his girlfriend and my cousin, his wife. It was her birthday. I said, I'll take you out for dinner, and I was disappointed in it. And one of my pet peeves is when you go out to eat is that it doesn't matter where you go. Everything pretty much tastes the same. There's two food companies in town. They deliver to all the restaurants. So, it's pretty much the same. Some guys season it a little different, which is fine. But one of my pet peeves, when I got my meal, it was cold. It wasn't hardly even warm. I got the prime rib, and we should have went to the High Horse.
Yeah.
But I knew these other two wouldn't like that probably, and it was their birthday. They get to pick, and but it was so I get a piece of prime rib. And I get of mashed potatoes and a little cup of au jus. And the plate's hot, but the food wasn't. Mm-hmm. Watch it, the plate's hot. Yeah, okay. First of all, I can handle a hot plate. Okay. So, but it was lukewarm to cold. Put it that way. Mm-hmm. The au jus. I mean, I thought, well, maybe that'll warm the meat up. And I thought, man, for $45 or whatever it is, But that's one of my things when I go to a restaurant. Now, I'll say this about a place like the Olive Garden. Whenever I've eaten there, my food is hot.
Yeah.
When I get it, it's hot. It's supposed to be hot when you get it. It's hot.
Now, do you ever pick the Olive Garden? Because that's a big crowded place, and that's not really your thing.
Yeah, because I love their salad.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind the Olive Garden.
Okay.
And the last couple times I've gone there, I've been able to get right in. Not very, not a lot of. If I come to town later,
right,
or something, But this, I was kind of disappointed, and because it's an expensive place to eat, and.
Oh, I had gotten a message from Hank last week about when is prime rib available at the High Horse. I said, all day, every day. He said, went there last night. Definitely going back.
Yeah, they got good prime rib.
Mm-hmm.
And
and there's a lot of times when I'm in there for lunch, the owner, Reed, is helping carry out food. Getting food out of the kitchen is the job.
Do you get your prime rib with jalapenos?
No.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering.
No,
I have the prime rib, but I want peanut butter and jelly and jalapenos slathered on it.
I've only had that once in my life.
Oh, okay.
The jalapenos for me are just more of a sub sandwich lunch meat thing.
Oh, yeah?
I don't really eat them on. I do an occasional burger with them.
Mm-hmm. They don't put them on pizza, do they?
Oh yeah, if you want them.
Do they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just kind of disappointed because I like my food hot, and
and especially these days for what you're paying.
Yes, and that's it doesn't matter. It's a social event. You're going to do something nice, and I don't care what it costs. Mm-hmm. And I care, but I don't care. But I'm thinking, okay, this is $45, and they set this plate down, and I got a piece of meat and a thing of mashed potatoes and a thing of au jus. right there.
Trying to think back when Charlie Brown's was open, and that was my girlfriend's account, so I'd go down there on Monday nights, and I think prime rib and a potatoes was $5.99.
Yeah.
But that was 25 years ago.
And I'm looking at that thing, and I'm thinking, I could have got 5 off-Main Deli sandwiches for that.
Mm-hmm. Did you get something to drink with your steak?
I had water.
Okay.
I had prime rib, and I didn't have steak.
I didn't come here because I'm thirsty.
I had water. That's right. It's very good. See, Mr. Wilson, now you're getting it. Now you understand. Well, hi, welcome to Wendy's. How can I quench your thirst? They don't ask you that, do they, Mark? Mark, answer the question.
They don't ask you that.
Well,
They ask you what size drink you want in the combo.
only if you get a combo, though.
Right.
Yeah. But on the menu, their combos are always first. You notice that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they know what they're doing.
Damn right. Damn right they do. So I put my seat covers in. I got some seat covers over last week, and I put those in over the weekend in my pickup. Really like the seat covers. The seat covers are great. Now, the straps that you use to pull the seat covers tight, made in China. Because I watched the video, and it says, make sure you really pull them tight. Okay. Well, I pulled them tight, and I pulled that son of a gun right out of the end of the seat cover. I said, well, you can't.
Folks, he's a big, scary animal.
You can't.
Keep your hands and feet back.
I heard somebody else tell me that this weekend. You are not normal. So, I about had enough of that, too. Paul, when they say pull them tight, they don't mean you pulling them tight, okay? They mean other people pulling them tight. But I fixed it, and I got those on. But worked on my building a little bit, burned some stubble, and had a little smudge out there. And they sent the cops out, the fire department out, and everything. And I'm out there with my water wagon and tractor. And then I came over the hill, and I had a perfect burn. I did it so well. The BLM should have taken a lesson on how I did that burn. And then as soon as they saw me come over the hill in my water wagon and tractor, then they took off. They didn't even sit there. They just took off and said, oh, he's got it.
It's a busy month at the Blue Cat Bar and Grill and the Roadside Event Center. November 17th, sports fans, join us for the Cat and Grizz Sweet Sundries Cookie Class. Have a blast creating unique holiday treats. November 23rd, it's Glow Bingo with DJ Dave Austin. A fun-filled night with lots of lights and the chance to win big. Cooler temps call for the Cat's warm bread bowls with homemade soup. Don't miss prime rib Saturdays and sushi and sliders on Sunday nights. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
Doing a little fall cleanup. There's a lot of that going on around the county. A lot of guys, they do fall cleanups in their hay fields and stuff like that. So good weekend for that. Tomorrow night it's supposed to rain, or tomorrow morning. I see my forecast had 90% chance tomorrow. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, 90%. Is that what you have?
I'm loading. Yeah, 88%.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, we need it.
You bet.
Well, Peg says off Main Deli, Paul, next time you're there, get yourself a pumpkin bar.
I saw those. I went in there and I looked at them.
Yeah.
And they also had this like triple caramel chocolate chip fudge brownie looking thing. Mm-hmm. And the lady looked at me and she goes, she goes, do you want one? And I thought about it, but I thought, I didn't come here for dessert. I came here for the sandwich.
And I'm not thirsty.
That's right. I'm not. There's a lot of people that don't get drinks when they buy sandwiches.
There's only one.
No,
there's only one. He's the only one I've ever heard of.
I'm not the only one. Oh, they looked really good. But, yeah. It is Veterans Day, though, so we want to thank all those veterans out there. Montana has more veterans per capita. Something else worth mentioning, too, is, and it doesn't get talked about a lot, but the amount of Native Americans that go into the military and serve their country. Huge amount of Native Americans serve their country. Part of their heritage, defending their homeland. And they do. We're grateful for that. In fact, over the weekend when I was looking at some of the numbers, they did an interview with, I can't remember his name, but he's from the Navajo Nation. 65% of Native Americans voted for Donald Trump.
You're kidding.
No.
Boy, that's usually a guaranteed blue vote.
65%. Well, look at their economies. Mm-hmm. Look at what inflation in the economy has done to them on reservations. 65%. All kinds of numbers coming in over the weekend, folks. Former President Trump won Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan has one of the highest concentrations of Arab citizens anywhere, and he won that. No Republican's done that for decades. Now, I don't know about you folks, but we still don't have election results. We're almost 1 week out, and we're still waiting for election results, some from California, Arizona, Nevada. No excuse for that whatsoever. None, zero. Yesterday, the last time I looked, the Republicans had 216 seats, and I think the Democrats had 202, something like that, 205. Anywhere there were 10 seats left to be decided, and out of those 10, the Republicans were leading 8 of the 10.
Oh, wow.
So, President Trump's already naming his cabinet. He's already picking cabinet members. He picked Tom Homan to run the border again.
The border's going to be different now.
Bad news. I've watched him on numerous occasions. Bad news for those of you trying to sneak in.
Bad news for some of you that have already snuck in.
That's right. So I would imagine the post office is probably closed today, too, right? Veterans Day.
I guess so, yeah.
Government offices, that kind of stuff. They're probably closed today. We need to rebuild our military. Military wokeness, DEI, all that kind of stuff took over our military. It's time to get them back to where we need them to be. It's time to really pick up our game because of the threats around the world, folks, from China and other places. All these alliances with Korea now, fighting in the Ukraine and Russia and Iran and all them. We just got to do it. Here's a story today. The Army's answer to lack of recruits is now a prep course to boost low scores, and they said it's working. The Future Soldier Prep Course was started as a trial program 2 years ago to provide additional instruction for recruits who couldn't meet the Army's physical and academic test standards. Folks, 30 years ago in America, any graduate from high school could have met the physical requirements to get into the military.
True.
It's sad what we have done to ourselves, physically and academically as well. It's starting to drive an enlistment comeback. The Army had a recruiting goal of 55,000, and they met the goal, and the Army said 25% of them came through their prep course. They won 61,000 new recruits this year. That may happen now that we have a new leader. It was started as a trial program 2 years ago to help boost the dismal recruiting numbers under the Harris-Biden administration. All branches were suffering. Our Army Secretary currently is Christine Wormuth, said the program deserves to be made permanent now. Yeah, it does, because our youth are not prepared for even military service when they get out of high school, physically and also academically. Drill sergeants express concerns they're seeing more discipline issues now, disrespect from the trainees that come out of this course. You know why? I can only imagine what they teach in that course about our military to these kids going in and what their role is and what they should expect and what you can take and what you... I'm guessing there's some things in there. No wonder the drill sergeants don't like it. The fitness program tries to give the trainees a foundation in eating and working out. They do not want to break the recruits before they get the basic training. They do a lot of yoga, stretching, and other things to avoid injuries. In the classrooms, they have to know basic math and English. Basic math, folks, these are graduates from our high schools, and they're having to take this special course to get in the Army to know basic math and English.
And why aren't heads rolling over this? Why isn't something being done?
It's awful. One kid from Pennsylvania said in 10 weeks of this course, he was able to lose 20 pounds. 20 pounds? And you're 18. One girl lost 30 pounds in 6 weeks, but she was missing her 3-year-old daughter. On the academic side, the recruits there said they still struggled with math and English comprehension they were getting from instructors, but they were having no problem with the discipline part. So, military is a great career. It's a great way to serve your country, make a good good living down the road. Sure, grunts and recruits, they don't make much, and that's a shame. They go in. I remember I checked the salaries here about a year or so ago, and they go in and they make like $1,500 a month when they're in the low end, and it's not a lot.
No,
not good. And but it does make for a great career, and they're so important to our nation. And a lot of them don't come back the way they went in, and we turn our backs on them, and we don't do enough for them, and we send them to VA clinics. President Trump, you may recall, last time he was president, he signed into law that if they can't get in, they can go to the private sector.
Right.
And we will now get a new chairman of the Senate Veterans Committee now that the old one got voted out here in Montana. Maybe they can turn things around, help them a little more. We got a lot of veterans, though, in Montana. A lot of them. I learned more over the weekend about the demographics during the election and what an overwhelming win this was. Women are cutting their hair, telling their husbands, you're not getting sex anymore. And
how can I tell the difference? Eh?
Yeah, no children, which to me, that's good news. I don't want you having a child and indoctrinating them the way you are and ruin the country down the road for another generation that we have to repair. Headlines today, frustrated Americans await these economic changes that they voted for. Well, before the election, we heard that the economy was great.
Everything was dandy.
Yes. Now, the truth is coming out. See, the media did their own dump truck there. And these radical nut jobs out there are blaming Americans. One of the best, it resonated with me at least, one of the best analysis I heard of the election was from Bernard Goldberg. He was an old CBS News reporter, and he does a podcast and stuff now, and I saw an interview with him, and they asked him why it was so overwhelming and why so many people changed their votes. And he said, well, obviously, the economy and immigration was number one and number two. He said, but there's also this. He said that these liberal, Marxist, progressive Democrats out there were so condescending in their labeling of Americans that disagreed with them that it wore him out. And I heard that and I said, bingo, that's it. I was looking for the one thing why, and that was it. Because he said, if you disagreed with a progressive liberal on any of their policies, any of them, it wasn't because you disagreed with them for any of their policies. He said it was because you were a racist, a homophobe, a bigot, you were misogynistic, any of those. He goes, if you disagreed with their policies, and he said they constantly hammered you. Remember, Biden, you're garbage.
Yeah.
You're garbage. You're a fascist. You're Hitler. That's all they did, folks. If you disagreed with their policy, they named you and they tried to shame you. And people, he said, got sick of that. Just because I didn't want Kamala Harris president doesn't make you a racist. But that's what they said. If you didn't, you're racist. If you didn't like men in your daughter's locker rooms or men in women's sports, you're a homophobe. You're a bigot. No, I just don't think that men should be competing with women and be in their locker rooms. Period. Oh, they didn't care, though. That was a policy. Nope, that's not why you don't like it. You don't like it because you're a bigot. And he said that really resonated among Americans. He said because almost all Americans are none of any of that. He said they want what's best for them and their country, and they vote on policy. Mm-hmm. And it was so true. It was so true. Calling their candidate Hitler, calling all the voters that supported him garbage. You're garbage because you don't support our candidate.
It's a busy month at the Blue Cat Bar and Grill in the Roadside Event Center. November 17th, sports fans, join us for the Cat and Grizz Sweet Sundries Cookie Class. Have a blast creating unique holiday treats. November 23rd, it's Glow Bingo with DJ Dave Austin. A fun-filled night with lots of lights and the chance to win big. Cooler temps call for the Cat's warm bread bowls with homemade soup. Don't miss prime rib Saturdays and sushi and sliders on Sunday nights. The Blue Cat Bar and Grill in Huntley, just 9 miles east of the Metro Park exit.
You know what? I don't want those women having children. I don't want them putting another generation of people that think like that out there. You vote what's best for you, your family, and your country. And people were voting on policy. Look what immigration did to cities all around the world and all around our country. I mean, just devastated and overwhelmed them. And you want tougher immigration standards, and you want to control our borders like every single nation in the world except one, ours. Doesn't make you a racist. And yet they labeled you. And he said that being hammered into people constantly over and over again. The only reason you're voting or supporting this issue or that issue is because you are one of these 5 that we've determined. Resonated with me.
Yeah.
How many times did you hear the Republican candidate tell everybody, if you don't support me, you're an atheist? You never heard that.
No.
You never heard that. If you don't support my policy on the border, you're a traitor. You're a Benedict Arnold. He never said that. But every time you disagreed with one of their policies, you were labeled.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Mm-hmm. And the media ran with it. Oh, they're hurting. The media ran with it. But that was so true. So true. Look how they talked about Trump, and look how they talked about Trump's supporters.
From the MSNBC website this morning, one of the headlines, Trump is about to take credit for Biden's accomplishments.
What? You see? Mark, they are relentless.
They are. They're scorned. They're scorned because they lost.
Mm-hmm. What accomplishments?
Yeah.
Debt, $3 plus gasoline, open borders, world wars across the globe. Well, you should have touted those, and they did.
Biden's critics would say his approval ratings are low primarily because we went through a period of inflation, which people hate. Mm-hmm. But inflation happens all over the world as supply chains struggled to restart after the worst of the COVID pandemic.
And a struggle and a pandemic that was made worse by policies from the Biden administration.
From your guy.
Vaccine mandates, closing businesses.
Firing people if you don't get the shot.
Firing people, closing down travel and airlines and schools, shutting them down. Restaurants being forced to close. You're only allowed to have 6 people. Tables, 20 feet of all these policies that now we know were all done for control, all done for the purpose of training you for future overwhelming, overbearing government that would control everything you do, your health care, everything. And we're paying the price. Paid the price. People lost these poor people, they lost restaurants, family businesses. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Look at what we lost in our students. They didn't listen to the people who knew. Mm-hmm. They listened to government. Government decided this. Money. Pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer that don't have to even release the results of their testing on the vaccine for 75 years.
And what other medicine gets that break?
Because they know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen. So there's a lot of euphoria right now around the new administration coming in. He's already putting cabinet members in place. He offered to pay, did you hear over the weekend he offered to pay Kamala Harris's $20 million in debt?
No.
Yeah, she had $1 billion and she's $20 million in debt.
Wow. Donald
Trump spent $354 million. She spent $1 billion. Didn't win. She had to pay, folks. She was paying $1 million for Katy Perry, Bruce Springsteen, Beyonce.
Oprah.
She paid Oprah $1 million. Oprah didn't charge Barack Obama $1 million. She must be racist. She had to pay her $1 million to interview her? Oprah's a billionaire. Why would Oprah need $1 million to interview the candidate? So Donald Trump said, I want to, for unity and stuff, I want to bail her out. No word on whether they're going to accept it or not. $20 million to cover her debt. Well, look at Tester. Look how much Tester outspent and his political and lobbyist outspent Sheehy. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. Wasn't even close. Almost $300 million spent in Montana on that seat. Almost all of it going to Tester. He lost. But so now we're just waiting. In California, they threw out that rogue attorney general they had in their state.
Right.
That was easy on crime. He was up for election. They threw him out overwhelmingly. In California, they got rid of the $950 rule where you could shoplift that much and not have to worry about it. They got rid of that. People were sick of the direction they were leading the country. It wasn't because they were this or that. Speaking of California, at least somebody's having a good year. The pistachio farmers. Pistachios, seen as hardier and more drought tolerant. The nut has surged over the past 10 years. I would have never guessed this. It is the state's 6th biggest agricultural commodity now in California. $3 billion a year just on pistachios.
Wow.
Pistachio orchards can withstand drought better than other crops. They take less water per acre than almonds and other nuts. Much of the crop goes to China, but experts said Americans are starting to eat more pistachios. $3 billion a year worth of pistachios.
It's been a long time, but he came in for an interview, and I gave him a ride to the airport. The drummer for Nitty Gritty Dirt Band has a pistachio farm in Hawaii.
Folks, you can get that and more in seat 2C if you sit next to Wilson. California grows 1/3 of all of the country's vegetables, and 75% of all of our fruit and nuts are grown in California. Folks, with those kind of numbers, you would think California wouldn't have the deficit and debt problems that they do. Unbelievable amount of debt.
Well, it's what you always say talking about it. It's not the money coming in.
That's right. Just think of that. 3/4, 75% of all the fruit and nuts grown in America are grown in California. Lettuce, oranges, you name it. They're sold with shells or without in stores. You can flavor them, peppered, salt, honey roasted. The Wonderful Company is a $6 billion ag company known for brands like Halo mandarins and other things like that. They're the biggest name in pistachios. Their yields now are up 40% more. Pistachio fields are in Dustfield farmland northwest of L.A. They're also lined with pomegranates and dairies. The trees are shaken each fall and the nuts hauled to a massive processing facility. I've seen that before. They put these machines on them that vibrate the trees.
I think I've seen those too.
And they put like almost a metal canopy underneath it, and the nuts fall in it. And interesting how they do that. Almonds need more water than pistachios. Trees rely on wind instead of bees for pollination. I didn't know that. California is going to more perennial crops, which is great. That cuts your expenses down. For those of you that don't know what that means you don't have to replant them annually. You know, I checked the other week. I was talking to Mark about it. They are developing some perennial wheat and stuff like that where you can seed it and then you don't have to go in and replant. Now, of course, a lot of the major seed producers will fight that.
Right.
Because they make their money with seed.
And Paul's not going to like that. I like doing more work.
That's right. Because I'm not normal. You a-hole. But pistachios they're perennial, so that's good. And water challenges. You can't keep getting millions upon millions of people with the same amount of water. It's not because of drought. It's not because of this and that. It's because there's more people dipping their water cup into the river and drinking and using. But got a big pistachio boom going on. Good for them. Oh, and one more note. I brought in this note today. I thought this was kind of neat. You know, we're in the middle of hunting season, and over the years, folks, you know what kind of trouble I've had with hunters. And all farmers and ranchers, we deal with this all the time. And you hunters out there know there's really good ones and there's really bad ones.
Right.
And the bad seem like they're always going to be bad, and the good ones are always really good. The problem is trying to decipher as a landowner or something who's good and who's bad. We try to do our best, pisses some people off, makes other people happy. It's part of the game. Don't worry, we don't lay awake at night worrying about it or losing sleep over it. And I had a guy, I don't know, a couple years back, was down by my cows and was hunting birds. And I could tell right away this guy was a great guy. I mean, you could just tell. Picture perfect way that a bird hunter should be. His vest, jacket with his gun on his shoulder, his dog with a collar on it that he can control his dog. Nice pickup. You know, took care of it. Wasn't full of straw wrappers and horse crap in the back. You know, I mean, Mark, I've seen them all. Mm-hmm. You know, just stellar guy. And the first time I ever ran into him, I saw him And he was telling me, and he just wants to. And I told him, and I said, you know what? If you want, I said you can go onto my stuff, get down in these willows and trees, and you can hunt pheasants. I said that, knock yourself out. I don't have any problem with that. You're a good guy. And he parked on the road, walked in. Just perfect hunter. Yesterday, I go down to my cows, and I went down to work on this shelter and stuff I'm building. And there's a garbage bag there sitting on about a mile away from the main road. Garbage bag sitting down there against my fence. So I open up the garbage bag, and there's a note in there. It says, "Dear sir, I very much value the time I get to disconnect and go out and enjoy the outdoors with my pup. When the weather turns, I'll be in a garage or something like that. This butcher block cutting board is for you. I appreciate the opportunity to use your land and chase your birds. If you ever need an extra hand or some assistance, do not hesitate to call. I will always respect the permission you have given me and never let you down." And the guy gave me his name and his phone number.
Oh, how awesome is that?
From a hunter that I let in about a year or so ago to do it. And he's still there, respectful, and left me a nice little butcher block cutting board, and stuff like that goes a long way.
Yeah, well, because you hardly ever see it.
Yeah, long way. And he's always welcome. Mm-hmm. And I welcomed him anyway because I knew he was a proper, perfect guy. And I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
This shows it's not wrong. So, but you like to hear stories like that. You like to see things like that. Gives you hope.
I just know I don't have your perspective because I don't own a large plot of land. But watching the Yellowstone Game Warden show, and how many people are drunk or high, no license.
Oh, I know.
Over limit fishing.
Oh yeah, I know. It's crazy. Oh, really? Huh? I didn't know.
Oh, I think I left that in my other pants back at my house.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah, I haven't. I've only seen that once, but yeah, you're right. There's probably. I'm hoping there's more people like this guy than what you see on that show.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a nice thing. And so to all you guys out there doing it right, why, thank you. All you guys doing it wrong, you're going to end up like the guy down here downtown this morning that Mark and I saw.
With a cop car up your backside.
That's right. That's right.
This chase has ended.
It's now over.
We'll get rolling. First news coming up, 6:12.
The Breakfast Flakes podcast brought to you by the Blue Cat Bar and Grill. Next to the Roadside Events Center in Huntley. The Blue Cat. It's where it's at.